Dandavat, Srila Bhakti-yoga Avadhut Maharaj ki jai.
Yes, my Dandavat Pranam to all the devotees and the wonderful hosts and support team that make this program available for everybody. As you know, we just had amazing Guru Purnima Parikrama into India, and where we met Janardhan Maharaj, some of our devotees, old devotees. We had wonderful journey to Vrindavan, Jagannath Puri, Mayapur, Navadidam, and it's been a source of our inspiration. So every year when we celebrate Guru Purnima in Mahaprabhu land, we pray to Mahaprabhu to allow us to continue his service, although we're not qualified, we're not fully fit for, Bhakti-yoga, which is the highest form of yoga, means connection by love. However, it's the most merciful Lord, Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate. For the most fallen is the most mercy. This is the mercy of Mahaprabhu. And so therefore, by the grace of Mahaprabhu and the blessings of Srila Gurudev, we continue this practice. What means practice means we're trying. Remember, one of the famous book called Religion of Imperfection, which explains that due to realizing our own imperfection and realizing our own incapability for spiritual life, we're moving towards acceptance of mercy. This is very important because in mystic yoga or any other ways of self-realization, it's about you, your own power, your willpower, your own endeavors. But when it comes to devotional life, it's not something that you can force Krishna or force love in your heart. In fact, love is something you cannot force. Therefore, love comes as a blessing. So when we are having, physical relationships, mental relationships with people, between men and women, we might have physical proximity, but then in time we realize it was not love, because it's not something that cannot be imitate on mental or physical or emotional platform. In fact, it's something that beyond our mental, emotional, realizations. But when the true love coming to our heart, the tears are streaming without control. Why? Because at that moment, when the soul experience transformational feeling, the body, mind, and our emotions cannot any longer be controlled under common sense or logic. Therefore, sometimes we can see that people, especially some new fortunate people, when they attain kirtan or spiritual program, they start crying, they start showing emotion. And, some people say, hey, I'm doing Krishna consciousness for a long time. I don't have any emotion when I chant Hare Krishna. Why is that new guest have an emotion? Because at that very moment, he is connected with divine spiritual energy. And at that moment, that divine spiritual energy touching their heart. So then somebody can say, why it's not touching my heart? Because we know by Krishna's will in the very beginning stage, Krishna allows so-called credit. He give us little credit so that you can understand, yes, I'm there. There's a substantial plane of consciousness, and this is very normal, because when certain people begin to believe in God at the very beginning stage of their life, they're asking something God, and they feel they receive something from God, and then they ask God again something, and God again give them something. And in this case, it will, their faith is growing. But really, when we look into the life of the saints, the holy people, we see that's not what exactly holy people doing when they believe in God. So they're coming to tremendous, life threat and, prosecutions and challenges and sometimes misery. And somebody will say, well, how come these are the pure devotees of God? And how come they suffer so much? But considering the nature of this world, the world of suffering, and consider that these saints normally showing us the path of devotion, the path of divinity, in spite of external circumstance, in fact, against external circumstance. But these are, particular level of faith and devotion. Therefore, if anybody has any questions, we can discuss today.
Sure. Thank you so much, Avadhut Maharaj, for that inspirational preamble. I really heard when you said about the credit and like the first kind of newcomer confirmations that we're getting, and we're like, oh, it's gonna be so much fun. I'm gonna enjoy this so much. And then it's like the dynamic changes and it requires different approach. It no longer, that kind of pinky, rosy, sparky something that we're experiencing in our first kirtan. So yes, any questions, dear devotees? Dandavats to everyone. I see the question from Bhaktilata, Moscow. She's offering her obeisances to you, Gurudev. And her question is, in Bhagavad Gita 10.36, Krishna says that amongst this deception, he is like gaming, like the game among. So he's defining him as I hope I'm translating this correctly.
Yeah, I got
He's
your
defining
sloka. I
himself.
will.
He says, I am the game amongst all deceptions. So the question is, could you please say then why all kind of gambling excluded from our practice? They're part of regulative principles, if it's how Krishna defines. So that's her question.
Well, remember, we're living in a material simulation. We're living in a computer game, and computer game means gamification. Means, if I get that thing, I get that money. If I win that war, I become the king. So, which is in English called gimmick, or like the essence of action, because when people create games, the game companies, remember, they want to motivate you for everything you want to do, because without motivation, you're not going to move. Therefore, they give you different tokens, different karma. They, give you different positions, because that's make your game related, and based on that game, you're receiving something. So, because without, just like when you do fishing, you have to first throw something for the fish. That fish start be excited that I'm giving source of food that coming from the sky. But at the same time, we understand fish participate in fishing. So, and that's what happens with modern economy. What they try to do, they try to remove money from people, because this is the ownership. And instead of money and ownership, they want to give you gamification. All right. You might get use of free car if you become a good citizen, or if you go take a vaccine, you'll have ticket for the movie, something like that. So a new globalist system where they try to slow down consumption of people, and see, because the basic globalists, they create consumption economy. They made us consumers. So when Yuvati said quite interesting thing, and the beginning of Krishna consciousness, we're coming into Krishna consciousness as consumers. But everybody understands, even globalists, even capitalists, I mean, especially globalists, that if you're just creating society and world based on consumption, that world will destroy itself, because nobody has limits of consuming. So they're thinking, what if you're consuming less? How we can motivate you? All right, so that maybe instead of motivate you to consume less, we're going to make you pride. Like, you're a proud person. You recognize you're using less gasoline. You're walking feet. So if you're walking feet, you're more healthier. Your beat rate is better. you made 10,000 steps today. So if you're not using car, using bicycle, you consider to be an exemplary person who, not harming environment, saving environment. So there's going to be a bunch of, and we're not saying they're all bad. We're just saying in this material world, we live in a world of gamification. So this gimmick, the game concept of motivation, is Krishna explained, it's me, because only Krishna can attract something. So it's the shadow of reality. Remember, every achievement based on something real, although it's false. Therefore, when you play the game and you win or you fight, it only happens in the game. It's not really you win anything. Let's say there's a game called Monopoly where you are, buying streets and things and you're playing against other people, but that's just a game. Then the next question would be, is that game, worse? Can you learn something by that game, or that game is useless? So life is the game which you're supposed to learn things and move to the next level of consciousness. Therefore, Krishna is explaining this. It has nothing to do with gaming as we understand casino or gambling. So gaming and gambling, two different things. Gambling is desire to achieve something for free, for nothing. It's just basically inspired by greed, just like pornography inspired only by lust. It's like there's no love. So therefore, gambling is like pornography. It's not really inspire you to achieve something. It's just inspiring you to get something. Therefore, it's the second expression of lust, of human. Human lust means to achieve, to control, to be, to have, etc. So then you can understand it's something of that nature. The reason I'm using these harsh words, just to make it clear to understand that there's a big difference between gaming and gambling. That's why gambling is forbidden. Gaming is okay if it's based on, if it educates you, makes you developing. If the gaming becomes just a gambling, then that's against the law.
Thank you for that answer. Yes, I also heard, for example, like the best way to learn something is, through the game. And the other thing that comes to mind is the moment in Mahabharata when, Yudhishthir gambled away the entire kingdom and Draupadi and that kind of intense dramatic moment. I think I've heard from someone, I'm not sure, maybe please comment this, that like whenever we gamble, like meaning that casino kind of thing, like trying to get something for nothing, like the Krishna is not like, he's not there, like he just not present in that realm of gambling, and it referred to that Mahabharata moment that he's like powerless.
I wouldn't say, like, you have to understand the way gambling been done in Mahabharata. It was kind of a pride of a kshatriya. That's why Yudhishthir could not deny. It was very psychological setup and trap, because they would understand if they would give him the challenge as a king. Remember, according to the rules of kshatriya should not reject any challenge. So therefore, kshatriya is somebody who's always living by expecting the challenge. So if kshatriya does not accepting challenge, even where his life and death on the gamble, he's losing his position. It's kind of we can say it's kind of a little bit primitive in the form of ego, but at the same time, it's a very clear identity who you are. Because right now, nobody has any clear identity. Everybody's just like no one, because no one has any morals. So if you really look at armies and war, which is going on right now, it's a moral war. That's why everybody going to hell, because there's no one has any morals. Very few people, we would say. So why? Because they're not real kshatriyas. They don't have the quality of kshatriyas. Only kshatriya willing to fight for the truth. So, therefore in Mahabharata, it's not about really gambling in the way it's done for us, because Yudhishthira is not, coming to this game with desire of winning money or something. He's going there because he's been challenged as the king, and he cannot say no. And that's where the drama is, because he's going to the trap and setup, and they're going to abuse him, and they're going to, exploit his nature, kshatriya nature, because they know very well his nature. So they're trying to explain some of the good, and at the same time, he's also very passionate. See, he can't really control himself in this regard. That's why it really has the link with gambling from another point. So it's like a double sword. From one point, they exploring his nature. From another point, it's just telling like, hey, if you can't control yourself, even if you're king, you will not be able to achieve common sense. So it's a very deep psychological situation, Mahabharata, which we should learn, that such a great people like Yudhishthira with such a great qualities, even they lost their kingdom because of their uncontrolled emotion.
Mm-hmm.
We're moving to next topic or not? Or we want to talk more?
No, I think you opened that extra layer to that question perfectly. Thank you. We have one more question from Svetlana Kostina, I assume not initiated yet. She offers you her obeisances and asks, what kind of qualities one has to have to become your disciple?
The less qualities, the better. Because when we're considering to initiate people, it's not about, I'm so great, I need initiation. No, if somebody realizing his own imperfection, that lead him to search for help. And me, as also realizing my own imperfection, lead me to connect with my guru, who's ocean of perfection. So it's not like, oh, I'm so great, now I need initiated. Yeah, if you're so great, why you need to be initiated? You're already so great. But if you feel, no, I do need shelter of devotees, I need an association, I need spiritual help, I need shelter, and I want to be with people that are trying to improve themselves. If I just go to a bunch of perfect people, let's say I go to ISKCON, everybody's perfect there, nobody drinks tea, nobody eats chocolates, no one drinks, I'm just joking. Then I say, well, it's wonderful to be amongst such a perfect people, but do they have any deeper way of perfection, or this is it? So a lot of people as consumers, they think, oh, I stopped smoking, I stopped doing this, so that basically I'm already evolved like a demigod. But it's not true. In a real spiritual devotional life, your humility that's what moving you towards perfection. Like Yuvati is working with addicted people, and one of their first thing is, because they can be addicted, they can be drinkers for years. At a certain moment of their life, they realizing this addiction is obstacle of their life, not obstacle in the way they can keep it, the obstacle in the way that it breaks everything in their life and relationship. So they try to get out of their addiction. They try to manage out of their addiction, and they realize they can't do it on their own. They need help. And that's what Krishna consciousness is. Like, we understand materialism is addiction that not only make us suffer, it broke us full potential of our realization, our reality. So therefore, based on that realization, we're breaking out of this, addiction as being materialist, and we're trying to just be what we are, and that's where our real spiritual life is begin. Am I make it clear? Is it understandable?
Mm-hmm. Sure, Maharaj. I love that referral to 12-step program and what you said about, being kind of in a rock bottom as a symptom of willingness and readiness for a change. Yeah, they call that it begins with surrender, really, both the devotion and recovery from pretty much anything.
Yeah, so that is the that is actually condition for initiation. Means I'm not qualified. I can't do it on my own. I don't have any way. I feel there's only higher force, higher power will make me change. And therefore, I'm willing to accept Guru. And if you don't have that attitude, your initiation could be not complete, could be superficial. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying everybody have to have a 100% negative mood, but that's something that moves us towards search for spiritual life and shelter and connection with devotees.
Yes. So the next question, Maharaj, from Ananta Shesh. He's in Spain. Interesting question. Dandavats Maharaj, is spiritual progress possible without constant direction from a guru?
It's a very good question. I will tell you a story. Srila Prabhupada was highly criticized once by not stopping fully at Samadhi of his guru and not coming to his Samadhi, because he was going to Kolkata from Mayapur and he was stopping in his car and just dandavat from the window. And then ISKCON devotees told Srila Prabhupada, yeah, they criticize you for that you did not get out of your car, did not go pay dandavats. And Prabhupada said a very interesting thing, which made him speak out of necessity. Remember, out of necessity, so many great spiritual deep ideas coming out. He said, these people did not realize that my guru was in my front seat and I'm always in deep conversation with my guru. So if you think guru is something physical, something that can, die or can be physically remote from you, or I can't hear your words, I cannot hear you, think that you don't understand position of guru. Guru is Krishna who live in the heart of every living being, but for the personal benefit of the jiva soul, he appears as a devotee. But that devotee is also only media for the guru. Guru can also, act through any other devotees or circumstance, or he constantly acting in your heart. So if you sincerely inquire the guru in your heart, you will get an answer. My personal experience, everything I sincerely inquire from universe means to core of my heart been always fulfilled. Like all my questions been always answered, all my requests been always fulfilled. When I have ego-centric ideas, they did not always fulfilled. Just like a mother, she always fulfilled the true desire of the child. And if child just want to stick his finger into fire or to do something crazy, mother say no. So mother has very clear definition between what's good for child, what is not good for child. However, sometimes out of her kindness, she may be able to let the child to make mistake, so the child feel a little bit of fire, a little bit of pain, because mother is also concerned about child learn things on her own. So he has to have his own experience, his own definition, his own decisive power. And so therefore, when we talk about what is Krishna consciousness, it's not just a guru, it's also our own self-reflections, our own decisive power. And that's where our spiritual movement and growth. Do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I'm not qualified enough to give a proper comment, but yeah, I related to what you said. I think at the start it is very essential to have clear direction, because me, like, I have this tendency to fall into self-deception. I'm like, oh, I see the signs. I hear, you know, God in my heart. You know, I can fall into that illusion, and like God in my heart tells me to have, I don't know, pizza or something. You know, it could be,
Yeah.
or like, so for me personally, it's important to stick with the devotees, with sincere souls, and yeah, like at least double check, you know, those voices. I would, yeah, that keeps me safe.
Well, remember, guru is not psychiatrist or psychologist. However, he can do that partially, that service for somebody, because we all need somebody to, you know, give us the guidance, affection, and love. But in fact, guru is spiritual divine principles that exist within and without, and with everybody living being heart. It's the Krishna himself who's acting through media of his devotees and circumstance. So once we getting more and more mature towards the guru, then we can see deeper and deeper presence of guru in our life. So, and again, from another point of view, if we totally blind by our own ego, that's called self-deception, then we not seeing guru. And even if we have the guru, we can also blame the guru. Oh, guru is, guru is guilty in my life, because we are acting as victim. So, remember, poisoned by our own ego, we pretty much many times acting as victim, because we believe being a victim, it's a very comfortable position for us, because we're not done anything wrong, everybody else wrong.
Yes, it is. It is a form of escape from responsibility for sure, and that's the mechanism of it. Like blame everything, and then it's so comfortable to be in this self-pity victim kind of little swamp, and it's just so familiar, and you kind of there. It's very self-centered position too, because everyone else is wrong and I'm so right. So yeah, it has that. So we have one more question from Yashodanandan Prabhu. He's in Kiev, Ukraine. Srila Gurudev, please take my obeisance. Could you be so kind by clarifying an issue? I'm confused. Should I read Prabhupada's Bhagavatam every day if I can't visit the temple every week? Or Gita and records of lectures are enough?
Well, that's a very good question, but it's according to your spiritual appetite. It's like somebody say, should I every day eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And then the Ayurvedic doctor will tell you what's your fire of digestion. You can read things, but what can you digest? So it's not just about what you've read, it's like what you digested. And mirror that, your ability of read scriptures directly is wonderful, but then can you describe them? Can you discuss them with other devotees? Do you have a way? So it's not really a question for like there's a particular sadhana, okay, there's a particular order of things. You try to do it every day, but sometimes when you're sick or you have no power, or sometimes you feel like, in my first personal spiritual life, like sometimes if I read one book, I think I've had enough. Like I can't, uh, my inner bottle is full. So I have to do something else. I have to hear something else, or I have to have some thirst. You have to have some appetite, and it's normally happen through inspiration, association of devotees. So therefore, you're not really trying to overfeed yourself with the spiritual content. And like somebody like Goswami Maharaj, he can read 5-6 hours every day. And a bunch of people who are book readers. But remember, you cannot be more than Google or GPT chat, because whatever you read, it's a fraction compare, source of information. So your ability of processing this information that's what really counts. So how you can process this, how this affects your life, how it affects your, spiritual well-being, stage of consciousness.
So if I understood you correctly, Gurudev, you saying you talking about practice, like the real contents of the spiritual path is like applying all that knowledge. Is it?
Yeah, let's suppose you want to become a doctor. You need to read a lot about medicine to be able to understand many fields. But that does not mean just reading the book, you become a doctor. So that's why, or astrologer, you need to practice this. And that's what make you a really doctor, because if a doctor is somebody who's practiced medicine or practiced law, that's why they tell, are you practicing doctor or are you doctor in theory? Are you practicing lawyer or are you just guy who knows the law? Because it's very important how you practice, not what you know. It's not a theory. It's actually, in fact, the theory sometimes become your enemy.
Okay, we just received question from Tungabhadra, and I think it's the kind of the questions that you always appreciate, Srila Gurudev, the provocative question. So, obeisances to everyone, dandavats to everyone. Question: is it considered normal when, due to the criticizing of critics of Guru, the disciple might leave the mission and stop practicing? Dandavats.
In my own personal experience, everybody I criticize, their imperfections came to me. So by criticizing others, later I discovered that all these imperfections living with me. Govinda Maharaj used to say, we're living by way of inspiration. Everyone has something imperfect, but we're living in a way of inspiration because what is Vaishnava? It's inspiring side of devotee. Like, for instance, somebody can be beautiful women, but horrible character. Somebody can be a very smart man, but very self-centered. So, and we can reduce dealing with his angle of self-centeredness by dealing with his genius. But again, if his genius will pop up, his self-centeredness, we can say that person been suffering from his own genius. So it's okay to have a critical vision, but if your critical vision make you to reject one teacher and stop practice, and you did not go to higher teacher or the teacher that suits you, that end of your criticism is just self-deception, self-delusion, self-destruction. Do you want to comment on that, Yuvaji?
I think it's in a way extends the point that you delivered, previously about this like poor me kind of thing. Like it's again question of interpretation. Like how do I, receive? How do I interpret reality? Like am I willing to believe that the Krishna is behind everything actually, and whatever is going on for my, for
Well, that's
my
one
best.
point of view, but from another point of view, what made you to accept this person as a guru? What was that you attracted by? Maybe this guru is a very handsome man, and then you realize he's not, or something wrong about his personal nature, or there was some kind of a spiritual inspiration. So all these things, yes, require, what's been your original choice? Because if your original choice was superficial, like there's I'm not going to mention name, but there are a few popular Indian urgent gurus has very physical, beautiful appearance, and they talk very nice, and they sing very nice songs, and they dress nicely. But when I hear talk of these gurus or see what they're doing on spiritual level, my personal thinking, these people don't know what they're doing. Like they're just imitating. They're doing a lot of things which is not bona fide, which is not deep, not really coming from Gaudiya Vaishnavas. It's coming from Hinduism. And that's why I call them Hindu guru. I don't call them Vaishnava guru. I'm not going to mention the names, but some people from people that I know went to that guru group because it's very attractive and people dress Indian dress, they put up tilaka, they chant nice songs. But when I look at their practice and their realization, to me, it was very weird. And I realized this is not really bona fide Vaishnava way, but that could be Hindu. Hindus basically believe everything. They do a bunch of, things. And that's okay on Hindu point of things. But it's not a Vaishnavism, especially not a Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So if somebody will tell me, oh, this guru connect to another sampradaya, then my question would be, well, does he really follow his sampradaya, or he's some kind of a guy who came out of sampradaya and come up with his own bunch of things just because they sell, because they attract people. And in this case, he's deluding himself and deluding this others. You really need to be an expert. So I'm not trying to promote this condition. I'm just trying to say that which is look might be attractive to a lot of people might not has. It's just like an example of this. You start mixing every kind of medicine together and somebody tell you, hey, why are you doing this? And you say, Ayurvedic medicine is easy to mix. It's good for everything. But somebody is a qualified doctor will tell you, but that's not going to solve people's problem. So when you go to a pharmacy shop, you say like, hey, which medicine is good? They tell you they're all good. Then why you need to go to the doctor? Because doctor will tell you exactly which one is good for you. So pharmacist who sell medicine, he knows every medicine, he knows purpose of every medicine, may not be qualified to be a doctor.
And the medicine that we receive, the proper medicine, is not necessarily sweet. Yeah, and that's also the point to remember. We have a very dynamic audience today, Gurudev. There's many questions. So
I just want to comment your comment with, if you allow me to. In fact, it says in scriptures, our medicine is very, very sweet. The problem is we lost taste. So it says in Rupa Goswami, when somebody has jaundice, means liver disease, the sugar tastes to him bitter due to his nature of his disease. And that's one of the example where something that's sweet tastes bitter. The doctor immediately say, yes, you have liver disease, jaundice. So in fact, it's not that we don't have a taste. We've lost taste due to our conditioned nature and sinful reactions for holy name and Krishna consciousness. That's why as a infected by jaundice, by material existence, we're on the negative side of things. Sorry about
oh, thank
going
you.
into
Thank you.
details.
It was very important to hear, very important reminder. So next question from Sadhvi Devidasi. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisance and thank you so very much for this wonderful enlightening lecture. I always learn more new information in your lecture. Okay, it's just a comment to you. Yeah, acknowledgement and appreciation. Then
Sure.
a question from Narayani. Obeisances Gurudev and to all the assembled devotees. Sometimes the practitioners okay, they deflect the responsibility on Guru, on God. For example, they say, if by the mercy of Guru something will happen, then okay. But they don't really apply any action. And then if something doesn't go right, if something fails, then they say, oh, it's a God's will. That's how the God wanted. You know, my service is over. So how can we maintain the balance between the faith into, you know, higher realms, higher power, and our own responsibility for everything what we're doing or not doing? Thank you in advance.
Well, I think we do need to understand where our free will begin and end, because we've been granted free will by God and our own defining powers, and where our free will limited by higher power. Like Guru Maharaj would very clearly explain that you can change yourself, but you cannot change the world. So when we are able to change ourselves with our internal adjustments, then we need to be blamed. When there's external adjustment, should not be blamed for the external things. Like you cannot be blamed for, rain or snowfall, but you can be blamed by not wearing umbrella or a warm jacket. So if somebody say, well, I'm blaming the universe, it throw the rain on me, then somebody said, well, you knew the news about rain and you have umbrella in your home and you decide not to use umbrella because you were lazy to go to the second floor or whatever the reason is, then don't blame, God and rain, blame yourself for being lazy. So, I mean, I think it's very common sense. Tell you honestly, I really appreciate those questions. They're important. But, if somebody can't really define himself, that means he's not a very smart person. It's okay. Krishna consciousness is not expecting everybody being smart, but what Krishna consciousness is expecting everybody to follow certain procedures, like, chant holy name of Krishna, take association, go for the kirtan, because that's exactly what will change you and open your vision. Remember, it's like you don't have to be a smart person, an intellectual, because it's require a lot of education and circumstance, but you can, easily accept Krishna Nam, believe in the scriptures, believe in the Vaishnavas gurus. And, if you're just sincere follower, that's good enough for you to, achieve incredible realizations.
Yes, thank you, Gurudev. So the next is from Abkhazia, Tham. The question is, obeisances, Maharaj, wishing you good health. Yesterday, two devotees received initiation in our family, Nadia Didi and Madhurya. So they ask how it is spelled correctly, Madhurya or Madhurya. Please clarify, and what's the meaning behind?
Well, actually, nobody received initiation, from what I understand, unless Hrishikesh Maharaj initiates somebody. There was baby born. They put in her passport name Maria, and they asked me what would be the good name, spiritual name, and I said, Madhurya from Madhu. Madhu is like honey, and Madhura means the sweet taste. And that's what, you should be talking about, Madhura or Madhu, or, sweetness, etc. So there's nothing else I can explain more. It's a very deep spiritual name, and it's giving for little baby. So let's see how the sweet tastiness will come up in her nature. I wish she'll be great devotee when she become adult.
You're absolutely right. I apologize. That was my, assumption. It
It's
says
okay.
that
It's okay. I'm just
receive the name. It was my assumption. Yeah,
yeah.
regards initiation. So that if that question is answered, then one more question from Yashodanandan from Kiev, Ukraine. Gurudev, is it enough for a spiritual life, Harinam and Vaishnava Seva, or everyone should take Gayatri-mantra in the future?
Considering situation right now in Ukraine and very difficult way of keeping and maintaining spiritual practice, we know Harinam itself is self-sufficient. However, when we're going deeper to our spiritual life, acceptance of Gayatri is very helpful. But again, it's question of mantra siddhi. It's more esoteric. It's basically tantric sadhana. It's basically yogic tantric sadhana, the Gayatri mantra. And according to my experience, very few people can really practice that. So when I say very few people, means the people that not involved in deeper service, such as preaching, deity worship, and etc. So it's depending on your intensity of spiritual practice and depth of your realizations. I would say this. Does that make sense, Yuvati? Did I answer enough?
Yeah, I can't. Of course, your answer is perfect. Yes, as it was explained to me, I second what you said. It was like when the service requires you, like if you need or want to serve in the kitchen or directly on the altar to the deity, yes, then the Gayatri is essential and necessary.
Well,
So,
I think it's partial. I think that's partial explanation. See, I'm supposed to bury mantra seed here, which is mukti, and also help you to move towards different levels of consciousness. So Gayatri mantra is the mantra by which the universe was created. If you chant 2 slogans of Gayatri mantra, it's become Brahmastra, you can destroy the whole universe. So think of this. This mantra has mantra siddhi to create matter and to destroy the universe. That's how powerful it is. So it's powerful on level of powerful beings who really into connection with that divine substance. So on our condition level, what it can do, it can bring us liberation, means mukti. But the liberation mukti for us is not the goal. It's just condition for us to serve Krishna. So mantra helping us to serving. But when it comes to Harinam, the name of Krishna, it's even chanted in spiritual world by liberated souls. So Golokera Premadhama Harinama Sankirtana, in Gaudiya line, we accept fully the name of Krishna. There are many, many mantras with elements or beach mantras, etc. And those mantras in Tantra and different yoga sadhana, they're helping to realizing different aspects of material reality, means allow you to grow through material consciousness into the most settled spiritual consciousness. However, Harinam does not require this because Harinam directly dealing with Supreme Lord. It's the super ultimate mantra.
okay. And the question from RT. I apologize, I don't know spiritual name. Dandavats Maharaj and to all devotees. Do we have to prepare ourselves internally for the relationships with Guru and Vaishnavas from life to life? Or in next life, we will be all different and we will have different teachers?
Well, I think I explained very clearly that Guru is Krishna. So Krishna is always one teacher. You will only have one Guru. But remember, Krishna, even in the spiritual world, comes in different forms. So sometimes there could be a certain soul returning in next life. It's more like ISKCON questions. It's not very developed question, because if you understand ultimate nature of the Guru, you will receive that you're always in connection with Guru. Like, you know, your mother is Guru, your father is Guru. Like in 11th canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam, Avadhut has 24 gurus. And so why is that in the 11th canto of Bhagavat? Because it's give you more deeper perception what Guru is. So once you will be more spiritually mature, that is just like right now, there's a lot of baby questions. And it's okay, because we're going baby steps. But as you understand, as you get mature in Krishna consciousness, the definition of Guru change, the definition of yourself change, the definition of environment change. So therefore, your amateur questions on one level are accepted, unless you Guru with 30 years ISKCON experience, and then you're asking the same question or believing the same question. So that's the problem. I'm not criticizing ISKCON. I'm just saying it's a problem in religion where they accept, arithmetics as a higher mathematics, or they accepting physics towards quantum physics. So when you're moving from physics to quantum physics, things become different, but you pretty much has to be prepared to be able to receive quantum physics principles. So we're dealing with quantum consciousness, the quantum physics of Krishna consciousness. That's why somebody in California told me, so Avadhut Maharaj, that means Srila Maharaj teach Krishna consciousness for adults. I said, exactly. Krishna consciousness for adults would be a very good title for the book. But again, that book will be very conflict-based with sectarian organizational group of people that just believe whatever their guru, like, or whatever Prabhupada said. But, what about whatever Prabhupada did not said? You understand? So you believe in what Prabhupada said, I believe what Prabhupada did not said. So because Prabhupada said many amazing things, he also did not said many amazing things. Why he did not said many amazing things? Maybe you were not ready to hear them. So if you're like not accepting that your guru or Krishna did not said something to you based, maybe you're not ready to hear that knowledge. But you see somebody's like Avadhut Maharaj speaks very radical. Somebody say, hey, Avadhut Maharaj trying to criticize somebody, some ISKCON guru. I'm not trying to criticize. I'm just giving an example, because if that guru is supposed to answer the question by the book and he doesn't have his own realization of that level, he may go to like the amateur level, and that's okay. That's not a sin, but we can understand that's a particular level of consciousness you are taking this issue on. You got it, what I said? So that means I'm not trying to offend Prabhupada, or I'm not trying to offend ISKCON or gurus. I'm just trying to say, for the sake of religious community, if that's been exposed, that means this is low physics answer, which works on physics, but it does not work on quantum physics.
I
Well,
think
remember we have 3 minutes left, so
yes.
let's
We,
conclude because I have few another cast today, and I
mhm.
really appreciate speaking English in a group of people, but I will just have another programs today. Today's Hanuman appearance day, and we'll be speaking about glories of Hanuman with one of my friend who's trying to promote yoga and Vedic science and culture. And before that, I should get ready for that. So let's have last question if anybody has.
Yes, your answer definitely satisfied that devotee because he already thanked you for quantum and adult answer. And if you still have few minutes, Maharaj, one more last one, again from Yashodanandan, Kyiv, Ukraine. Gurudev, could I ask one more question? Should I consider association with intellectual ones as an offense of Harinam, as association with atheists? So that kind of
Well,
question.
here's my quantum physics answers. And again, I'm not preparing myself as such a great realized soul. When you're talking about intellectual who, like intellectual devotee who've read a lot of scriptures, who understand a lot of things, it may not be bad. If this intellectual person screwing people's brain, then yes, he's over, because it says to read too many books and to speak too many things are not good for bhakti. Because remember, intellectualism without devotion isn't become an obstacle. But jnana and karma, they're serving devotion. So if you're looking for the proper answer and you apply some experienced devotee who has scriptural knowledge, it's not bad. Number one. Number two, I love association of atheists when I preach to them and talk with them, because it allows me to test my belief. So it's just like, what are you trying to do? Drink vodka with an atheist, play chess, go to pick up mushrooms, or you talk with atheists about spiritual life. So therefore, if if you're, let's say your father is an atheist and he's coming to help you and say, okay, I'm an atheist, but I help you. I'm very well with this, wooden skills. Like Yuvati has a father who's a military man, and sometimes he comes to ashram and participate. So he may not be just a believer or follower, but by maintaining his presence, he's getting himself sukritya. So we cannot blame him for not being Krishna conscious, etc. So, word atheist to me has many, many different definitions. But to me, like if I meet an atheist, it's so much fun for me because I talk to him about the existence of God, and I'm happy to hear his point of view. So, you know, just like I said, your question is very good for physics, not good for quantum physics, because in quantum physics, there's many possibilities of circumstance. So, we need to analyze circumstance. And in this case, we can say, yes, in this case, the meeting with atheist was good. Or in this circumstance, the meeting with atheist was not good, etc. So it's all circumstantially. Otherwise, we have to hide in our own apartment, don't step out of our room. We'll be like a bunch of Orthodox people, marry each other and, marry our sisters, produce, crazy children, genetically, messed up. And so there are particular sects of Christians, of Jews, some of them, because of the loss, they cut off their genitals. Some of those start marrying their own relatives. And, we have to think why God create atheists. Like if you're like a Muslim terrorist and you hate the rest of the world, then your natural question would be, why Allah allow this? Why God create this? Why God create and you hate God creation? Maybe something wrong, not with creation, maybe something wrong with you. All right, so based on that wonderful discussion, I want to thank you, Vatsir. I want to thank all other devotees who participate in this wonderful meeting. You allow me to express few thoughts, few ideas, to re-wake my thinking, which I'm grateful for you. I feel that this situation, I've learned a lot today. Thank you. The reason I've learned, because everything I say is not my intellectual property. It came out of my heart due to presence of devotees. That's why presence of devotees is very important. So don't think I'm some kind of advanced guru. It's just Krishna allow me to say these things because there's some necessity of somebody for spiritual knowledge and my service. My Dandavat Pranam to everybody. I want to thank Yuvati for being very incredible host. Other devotees to translate. I want to thank Narayan Didi for being able to religiously put together those meetings, even although there's mostly Russians. Still, we're practicing in English. I would say if we would translate this to YouTube or Facebook, there would be a lot more people. So now we're thinking how to expand our messages into the real world. But I consider this as a practice. We're practicing between ourselves. Practicing is always training. Practicing is always good because it's very comfortable to practice in your own group of people. You know, if we would have a bunch of other people who would, maybe argue with us or not agree with us, that would be maybe difficult for us to contain this meeting. But considering that it's all went wonderful, I want to thank everybody again. I want to thank Suresh for being able to translate. I don't know what is translation skills, but for sure, an ability to translate to other devotees, other languages, very useful. I don't know if it's translate to Estonian language or Russian. I know translation is very important. I always felt I'm the worst translator possible, but over time, I overcome that difficulty too. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. God bless everybody, and stay in touch.
Jai Shila Bhakti Bimala Avadhut Maharaj ki Jai.